All right, welcome back for the third part of One Man's Faith. We're looking at Colossians, but we're looking at Messiah and where that, how this all fits in. And I've taken a big rabbit trail, and we went to the beginning. We went to Genesis 3 and saw that when Adam and Eve sinned, they didn't die. They didn't, we know, and as I mentioned just then, dying you will die. They died spiritually, which means they have a dead spirit, but they lived on until they died physically. And I said, why did God destroy them and start over? Number one, I said, was God is love. Number two is where we're at, that God had blessed them, he therefore couldn't curse them or kill them, because the blessing was be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. And we're looking now, I've jumped over to Noah to give you another example of this. And that is, after they got off the ark, a while later, it had to be because he planted a vineyard. If he planted a vineyard, you don't get grapes as soon as you plant a vineyard. But he planted a vineyard. He finally made wine. He got drunk, and he took his clothes off. His son saw him, and it's believed that in the wording it's possible that his son did more than just see him. I don't know. But he went and told his brothers, almost like, hey, Dad's naked, kind of things. And the other two brothers took a blanket, walked backwards so they couldn't see their father or his nakedness, and laid the blanket over him. And when it says that when Noah awoke from his wine, he knew what his youngest son had done to him. Okay, and Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan." Why did he say, "Cursed be Ham"? For the same reason. Remember, I read to you in Genesis 9, verse 1, and God blessed them. God blessed them. So Noah could not curse Ham, so he cursed his firstborn son, Canaan. All right, number 3. Once a blessing is given, and this will answer the question I know you have. Once the blessing is given, it cannot be taken back. In a sense, it's like a promise. Once you promise something, you don't take it back. Let me give you an example. Let's go to Jacob and Esau. All right? If you remember, it says in Genesis 27, it says, and it came about, verse 1, and it came about that when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called his older brother Esau and said to him, "My son, behold, now I am old and I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your gear, your quiver, your bow, and go out in the field and hunt game for me, and prepare a savory dish for me, such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, so that my soul may bless you before I die." Rebekah heard this, and she talked her son, or her other son, the one that she loved, Jacob, into pretending he was Esau, cooking a savory dish, taking it to him to get the blessing, which he did. And it says in verse 24, he says, "Are you really my son Esau?" This is as Jacob is approaching his father, saying, "Father, here's your dish, let's eat." And he said, "I am." And so he said, "Bring it to me, and I will eat my son's game, that I may bless you." And he brought it to him, and he ate. And he also brought to him wine, and he drank. Oops. Oh, no. How did that happen? I somehow lost where I was. Sorry, guys, okay. I've never done that before. All right. And so he brought it to him, and he ate, and he also brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said, "Please come close and kiss me, my son." And so he came close and kissed him. And when he smelled the smell of his garment, see, Isaac still wasn't sure that this was Esau. He smelt him and said, and he blessed him. And he said, see, the smell of my son is like the smell of the field which the Lord has blessed. Now may God give you of the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and an abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those who curse you, and blessed be those who bless you. All right? So he gave the blessing that was supposed to have been Esau's to Jacob. Esau comes in and says, hey, Dad, I've got your game. I've got your food. And Isaac, his father, said to him, who are you? And he said, I'm your son, your firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled violently. I don't know if it's because of his fear that he gave the blessing away or because he was really mad that Jacob tricked him. And he said, who was he then who hunted game and brought it to me? So I ate of all of it before you came and blessed him. Yes, and he shall be blessed. Then Esau heard the words of his father. He cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Jacob said, your brother came deceitfully and has taken away your blessing. Then he said, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he's taken away my blessing. And he said, have you not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac said to Jacob, behold, I have made him your master, and all his relatives I have given to him as servants. All your relatives I have given to you as servants. And with grain and new wine I have sustained him. Now as for you then, what can I do, my son? You see, once the blessing was given, it couldn't be taken back. So I'm applying this to why man wasn't destroyed when Adam and Eve sinned. Okay? God didn't just go and blow them away and kill them or just let them go back to dust and say, okay, I'll start over. I'll start with a better product or something. We'll go with human beings 2.1 or whatever. He didn't do any of that. He couldn't because he had blessed them so he could not take their life. And once he blessed them, he could not take the blessing back. That's why we have to look at the fact that God did not take the blessing away of being fruitful, subduing the earth. You see, it's been given to man. The earth has been given to man. It now rests in the hands of sinful men. Okay? Man is now a sinful being, and he's ruling the earth. Now consider this. Because God blessed them, and he told them, be fruitful, multiply, and fulfill or subdue the earth. In order to rule on the earth, one must be born human to come under that blessing. All right? Because that is who the blessing of ruling was given to. It was given to us, and we still have it. But Satan says that he has the king. Listen. The only way to rule on the earth is to be human. So the fact that Satan says that he is the king of the world only comes because he has taken the sinful nature of man and used it to his advantage so that he rules through men. Now remember, God said, let us make man in our image. Okay? That means we are a representation of God. How God is, that's how we are. How God created, that's how we create. God created. See, we don't look at that and understand the concept. God created by speaking. The Bible says, and God thought, let there be light. No. The Bible specifically says, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. That's how God creates. We create the same way. Proverbs, I think 27 says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. We can create things either of life or create things of death. If I were in front of you and I said, you're a fool, I've created death. Do you see that? If I say, man, you are great, God really has going to work through you, what am I creating now? I'm creating life. Do you see? So what we speak is important. Listen, what we speak today, have you ever noticed that now the news speak negative and say, oh, it's going to be the worst storm ever. Oh, this is going to be a really bad one. What are we doing? We're creating death. And yes, that storm will be worse. Listen, how many times you said, oh, I don't feel good, and you really didn't. You created it. And this is how God and our adversary have tried to influence the world by influencing men and nations and speaking through them, either creating life or creating death. God is a spirit. He gave us the rulership of the world. He won't violate that. Our adversary also understands that. And because he's a spirit, he can't rule directly. How does he rule? By speaking into the lives of men and women and getting them to speak his thoughts. He then has rulership. All right? Now let me stop right there. Think about that for a minute because I got to take a break, and we'll be right back.